Hey everyone, so you all remember Rogue One, right? And we got the Temple of Kyber. Well, this was the tallest structure of Jedha City that stood for hundreds, if not thousands of years. It was so old that Chirrut Imwe heard that it was as old as the Force itself. The temple's end, though, came when the Empire and its Death Star destroyed it shortly before the Battle of Yavin. Prior to this, in Rogue One, we learned very little about the Temple of Kyber. Basically that the Guardians of the Wills protected it before the Empire's invasion, and that it held a ton of Kyber crystals that the Empire was mining for use in the Death Star's super laser. Beyond that, we didn't learn much until the canon Galaxy's Edge comic and book, Guardian of the Wills. In these, we learn a ton of stuff about life in Jedha prior to its destruction. So today, I want to go over those things and what it looked like inside the temple. First off, the Holy City was sacred to many faiths of the Force, who all worshiped the Force in their own ways. There was the Brotherhood of the Beatific Countenance, to the Firmists, to the Weld Singers of Grace, to the followers of the Central Isotoper, to the Most Common, the Disciples of the Wills, who actually worshipped inside the temple itself. The Guardians of the Wills, of which Chirrut and Baze were members, were the protectors of the Disciples and Temple. In order to join the Disciples of the Wills, you had to complete 7 steps of training. The last is to meditate for a month inside the sacred temple. But once that was destroyed by the Empire, that made it very difficult, obviously. There, of course, were other Force religions that came to the city and even built temples there, but their identities were lost over the course of time, and we don't really have any information about what those temples looked like inside. We do know what the Kyber Temple looked like, at least a part of it. In the canon Galaxy's Edge comic, our good friend Hondo Ohnaka and Doc Ondar of the trading post at Black Spire had an adventure in the Kyber Temple. They somehow get inside and see massive, jagged Kyber crystals coming up from the ground and down from the ceiling everywhere, as if the temple itself was built inside a massive Kyber geode, which would be pretty sweet if you think about it. While they're inside, a Guardian of the Wills stops them in one of the sacred tunnels. It turns out they were there to steal one of the sacred relics, and Hondo says he doesn't want to be butchered for blasphemy by some angry monks, where Hondo stuns him. Later, they are fired upon by other Guardians with their handcrafted light bows. While Hondo injures them, Doc Ondar finds a Kyber statue of a Jedi being surrounded by some sort of dragon-like creature. This statue is just one of 2,304 statues made entirely out of Kyber inside the temple. Doc Ondar says this particular statue must be at least 2,000 years old, based on how the Kyber was growing at the base, and that a Jedi must have hand-carved it with his lightsaber. Doc grabs a lightsaber and cuts the statue from the base, and they run off. The tunnels start collapsing from all the fighting, and they think they've escaped until Chirrut Imwe himself steps to block their paths. He says he can't allow theft in such a holy place. Hondo tries to fire on the blind man, but Chirrut is the coolest dude and easily overtakes them. It's then that Doc Ondar tells Chirrut that he's only seen one statue like the one he's taking, and that he needs it to solve his parents' murders. Somehow, Chirrut feels something in the Force and lets them go, but unfortunately what Doc told him was somewhat of a lie. Anyways, they escape and all is well, until of course the whole temple gets raided by the Empire and blown up years later. But it's cool to see what the temple actually looked like before, and I'd love to see what else the temple had in store, since we really only see its tunnels. Like, what did the big assembly halls look like? What did the top of the spire look like inside? Assuming the temple had those things. So what do you all think? Do you want to see more of the temple or more of Chirrut and Hondo? Let me know in the comments down below. I always thought the Kyber Temple on Jedha was really cool, and I wanted to see more of a backstory on it in the sequels. Maybe we'll get some more of that in some spin-off films or shows or something. Maybe in the Cassian Andor show. Who knows? Have a great rest of your day, everyone. Thanks for watching this video, and I'll catch you in the next one. Until then, remember, the Force will be with you always.